Okay, my sound check. All right, we have a very simple agenda tonight. First of all, welcome everybody. Glad you can make it. I'm sure you're very appreciated the fact we did not meet in July. I appreciated it. I'm sure Kathleen appreciated it. I thought we had no minutes tonight, but turned out we do have minutes. So since I know you haven't seen them, because I never sent them out, I'm just going to share the screen. And put the minutes up on the board. Yeah, here we go. So I'm just going to read them to you, and hopefully that'll be good enough. If you have any questions, just ask. Call the meeting to order at 7:01. Had 17 people in person, 2 online. Main minutes were approved without changes. I should have you read this. Activity and crime report. Sergeant Garcia reported that the top calls in district were traffic stops, 187, followed by civil processes hangups and car wrecks, 70, followed by burglar alarms, welfare checks, and security checks. He noted that they are seeing an increase in internet and cyber crime. Tips: mind your property, lock your doors. Do not tap on a link in a text or email from someone that you do not know. There is a lot of junk out there. There's a state of the district event. Well, no sense talking about that now because it's been rescheduled. We get to that very shortly. Police are addressing panhandling by providing city resources through Acorn. And if panhandlers persist, police will enforce city rules prohibiting panhandling. North Hills development update. We now have Bonner Gaylord here tonight, where he was not at our last meeting. That we are pleased to have him. City council updates. Christina Jones, she was actually our featured speaker. If you haven't seen the video, I encourage you all to go to YouTube, go to the link for our June meeting, and Christina, I don't think you missed anything that night. And that's it for the minutes. So can I get a motion to accept the minutes? Any discussion, any changes? Can I get a motion to accept the minutes? Well done, Shane. Thank you very much. All right, let's get back to business. Officer Winkle with us tonight.
Good evening, everyone.
I have your piece too. I can put it up. I'm still sharing.
Awesome. So CAC is just a model of consistency as far as your crime statistics are going. There's really no fluctuation, so I don't really want to dwell on, the fact that we're averaging about 1,300 calls for service. That's pretty much standard. There hasn't been a leap in reports. You're still averaging in that low 200s. Again, it's motor vehicle crashes. Please give that distance, and it's generally your calls for service, your miscellaneous calls for service that we're responding to in your CAC. Really no major crime patterns, except for the one that plagues the city, and that's the larceny from motor vehicles. We are trying something new as a department. We have initiated an auto theft unit. So it's head up by a lieutenant, several officers, and they are following up on all of our larceny from motor vehicles or motor vehicle thefts. And they're closing out cases left and right. Pretty much I get a video and I send it straight to them, and I'm getting an update within the end of my shift. So that's exciting, but we do need your help. Please, please, please lock your car doors. Please don't leave fobs in your car. Please don't leave firearms. Again, nobody is taking my paycheck because a firearm is getting stolen every night from a vehicle. Lock your cars, secure your firearms. Other RPD news, we have our civilian crash investigators out on patrol, and they have taken a huge workload off of us. There's 8 slots available. We have 3 that have cleared field training. We have some more that are still on field training. They can respond to property damage only crashes. So if it's a hit and run, we still have to respond. If it's an injury, we still have to respond. But if you see them pull up in Chevy Silverado, they have the authority to submit to DMV 349, just like a police officer. So they've been a huge help, and the line officers, they miss them on the weekend because they do that much work for us. 29 graduates from the last RPD Academy, the 128. They have clear field training. They are patrolling on their own. So we have 28 officers, additional officers in the city that are helping us out. And then the 129th Academy, they just graduated and started their field training about a week and a half ago. So in about another 20 weeks, we're gonna have about another 50 officers out on the street helping us out. And then we have another academy that's gonna be starting at the beginning of the year. So our staffing numbers are filling up really, really fast. We've moved National Night Out. Apparently it was storming, on the original National Night Out. I was not in town. So it's gonna be September 10th at Midtown Park in North Hills. 5:30 to 7:30. Please come on out. Chief, command staff, they will all be out there. We'll have a canine demonstration, we'll have a bomb squad. I think our friends in the fire department may show up as well. And then if you're sign up for our social media websites, like Instagram and Facebook, please pay close attention because we're gonna have National Coffee with a Cop. We generally have about 12 locations throughout the city on October 2nd. Dates and times will be posted on our Instagram and Facebook pages. Come on out, have a free cup of coffee, talk with patrol officers, command staff, myself, if you have any specific items you want us to address. That, I'll turn it over to any questions.
Do you have those links for Instagram or socials?
I believe it's gonna be just route the people.
On the city website.
Just Instagram, it's just Raleigh PD, and then you got Raleigh Police Department. Facebook, you'll just put those in your search, see our badge.
No districts are kind of funky. So you're north, where does Armand, well, Hollow fall in? I know there was an incident down
North,
shortly after our last meeting.
yes, north, that's North District,
That is,
yes. So that would be North District. That runs right up to the north side of 440, right there at Wake Forest. It's pretty much our dividing line. And that little sliver down to Six Forks will be the Northeast District. And that little corner down there at Six Forks and Wake Forest Road, that's gonna be Southwest District. Just because there's just such a small area of those districts, it just falls to come on here. And if you live in those areas, just email me and I'll address it, or I'll get somebody in my other districts to help out. So hopefully I see you all September 10th. All right, thank you.
Oh, we're doing great time wise. Leave a lot of time for a lot of other things. We are fortunate to have Father Gaylord in this tonight. And if I can find your link, if you give me a minute to find.
Drop them off.
you can, Nick, you can upload it. Then upload it. Full screen thing. Get that download, that purple button. Yeah, sure. And I'm not sure if there's a full screen.
Yeah, they're at the top of it. Working on that. Actual size, right? Okay.
So, all right, well, glad to be here tonight and chat with you all about some projects that we've got going. Just give you some reference. Any questions that I can answer, I will, and if I can't, I'll let y'all know I can respond later. But very glad, sorry, certainly Coach's gone, but glad to be hosting this national night out on the 10th. It's just kind of fun, so come out. It's always a great event. And the police department does an incredible job of putting cool equipment, and it's a great time for kids or grown-up kids or whoever to see what our police department's doing. All right, next slide. So I'm going to go through tonight a number of projects that we're working on across the city. We're going to focus on some of the North Hills projects, but I'm going to give you just an update on the projects that we have going on in downtown as well. We, by serendipitously, have ended up developing projects in essentially a straight line through the city. And the reason for that, if you look in Google Maps and turn on the aerial photography view, you can see that there's a commercial core that goes through the center of the city with residential and institutional uses being colleges, universities, large public facilities on each side of that commercial corridor. There's some exceptions like Hillsborough Street, but generally the commercial spine of Raleigh is through the center, and the opportunities for redevelopment are in those commercial areas. We're not redeveloping our colleges and universities, and nobody wants their neighborhood redeveloped. So we're focused on that central spine, that core, all the way through downtown from North Hills to Smoky Hollow to the Warehouse District and West End, down to Rockaway, which is right adjacent to Dix Park, all the way down to downtown. Next slide. So at North Hills, I'm going to talk through some of the current and future projects. Sort of going left to right here. Restoration Hardware, RH, is opening their gallery concept, which is a 3-story studio for, you can go in there and they've got incredible vignettes of the furniture that they sell. And on the top level, they've got a rooftop bar and restaurant with an atrium. And I don't know if you all have seen it in other states, but it's really phenomenal. It's going to be a huge asset to the community. And they're slated to open before the end of the year. We've got all of this development is planning a grand opening at in November. We'll stay tuned on the final details for that, but we'll have a grand opening celebration really of 20 years in the Hills. So we've got the grand opening of the North Hills Expansion District, along with a 20-year celebration, and we're going to have a lot of cool activity during that time. But Restoration Hardware has got and beside it is One North Hills, which is an office building. It's I've heard it referred to as the Sandcrawler building from Star Wars. You know, the Sandcrawler tilts out like that. That's the way it kind of leans out of the belt line and stands proud on that corner. We also have the Highland North Hills residential building, which has just opened up and started move-ins a month and a half ago. And then we've got the 4114 Creative Office Building, which is here in the center. So 2 office buildings, a residential building, and an RH gallery over about 1,500 parking spaces underneath. So sure.
And then, moving further to the right, the Strand is a future plan, a 20-story residential building that will go on the lot right beside Happy Dale, right here. And we don't have timing on that, but it probably should be early next year. Then the whole North Hills Innovation District has been under construction for a good while now. Started with the Vine Apartments right here, and then moved on to Channel House Apartments here, which is in lease up right now. Maker's Alley is on the first level of Channel House Apartments. Then we built Tower 5 and are working on Standard Beer and Food, which y'all are probably familiar with from downtown. It's going to be coming to North Hills in this location right there, and an incredible building with tons of outdoor space. Bridges crossing the creek here. We've got a pump house, which is going to be a small, little coffee shop right there on the corner that will serve multiple meals a day and be another placemaker. We really focused on how to make, and then Saint Albans Lofts is under construction right now. It's 396 units with 6,000 square feet of retail. So big signature restaurant there. And then Tributary is a 6-story apartment building that is we're currently working on getting things. So a lot of projects, a lot of momentum, and a lot of new amenities that are coming to all new neighbors. Slide. Next slide. So this is an aerial rendering of the expansion district, and gives a little bit better view of what all of those that we just sort of quickly went over are. This is the One North Hills Tower. It's 266,000 square feet, 10 stories over 2 stories of parking. And then the 4114 creative office space here. And we've got a big plaza in front of the Restoration Hardware Gallery. It's going to be a good bit bigger than the current Commons area right here. And then we've got Highland North Hills, 287 apartment units and 10 stories. It's an absolutely beautiful building there. And we've got 1,000 plus parking spaces underneath, about 1,500 there. Next slide. Here's a view of the looking down the alley of the walkthrough of 4114 Creative Office. There, this would take you. This is looking, if you were to ride the escalators up that are right there by Bar Taco, and if you look down, there's a new alleyway that goes under the building, and this looks back towards. This is a pedestrian walkway to get back to the North Hills Expansion District, with the Restoration Hardware RH Gallery there, and Highland North Hills right there. Next slide. This is a view, if y'all know Kendra Scott, this is looking down that roadway, and with Highland North Hills right here, One North Hills right there, 4114 Creative Office there, and we're gonna have beautiful landscaping and make it another walkable street within North Hills. Next slide. This is the One North Hills Tower, which y'all have seen, and we're working on a restaurant right there, further retail, and then restaurants on further down. And this is an incredible building. It's also got the restaurant here is programmed for a 2-level restaurant with a rooftop hangout and dining area for that is served by the restaurant. There's elevators and stairs in there, interior to the building. There's also stairs on the other side of the building to get up to this terrace.
I've heard that there's the Restoration Park. That one in or one towards the same place.
It's the one I'm talking about. It's on the roof of that building. I think it may be. Let's advance the slide. I think it may show them again. Go back. Next slide. Next slide. This is the lobby. Good. Next slide. other lobby deck. Next slide. This is that terrace I mentioned, the outdoor upstairs public area that will be for dining and beverage of your choice. Next slide. And here's a view of Highland, and we'll go through some pictures of that. But this is the Restoration Hardware, Larry, and that right there, that atrium on the top is part of the restaurant. It's an indoor, outdoor, third floor restaurant that is in many much larger cities, and it's, apparently it's hard to get in in those cities because it's so well received.
And you go up, you have to go up and elevator from Restoration Hardware.
Yes, yes, you would ride an elevator up within Restoration Hardware. And they just updated their concept, and it's a beautiful building, and the restaurant is very popular. Next slide. Here's the lobby of the new Highland North Hills apartment complex. Next. It's got co-working space within it, incredible lobby and common areas. You find that more and more folks are looking for work from home options, and we build in co-working spaces into our apartment development stock out. Next slide. Here's a rendering of one of the units. Next slide. And so here's the Restoration Hardware building. It's 50,000 square feet indoors and out. 3 levels, rooftop dining, as we discussed, and in other cities, someone will go get a glass of wine, go walk around, go sit in one of the vignettes. Obviously, people tend to make buying decisions in those circumstances, and so that's a lot of the experiential retail that we're seeing where retailers and restaurants are trying to realize that the experience is what people are looking for. It's not just a commodity, because anybody can go online and buy a commodity. And so the experience that they get within the walls of the space is what they're focused on. So adding a restaurant and adding a bar to a furniture store seems counterintuitive, but unless you're IKEA, I guess. But it's been really successful for our age. Next slide. So here's the public plaza. There'll be green space and lush landscaping, along with a new escalator right here to be able to get up and down within the parking deck. Next slide. Part of the expansion of the new this district is bringing a brand new Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Madewell just opened today. So Madewell was open for business. And then J. Crew is under construction. True Food Kitchen is right there on the corner. They'll be opening within the month, I think, or next month. RH is planning for fourth quarter. Mia's is a bakery. Lamani Grill is a seafood and Mediterranean focused restaurant. It'll be the indoor outdoor 2-story restaurant. And then Village Tavern is on the corner of the Highland North Hills building facing the Village Tavern's well-known triad. Incredible. They do an incredible job. Great restaurant. Next slide. All right, so now we're going to move on down to the Innovation District, which is closest to us where we are right now. Next slide. So this is the overview. It's 33 acres in total. We have a spur of Big Branch Creek running through the site, which creates an opportunity for a green oasis from the urban nature of much of North Hills. We're really leaning into that with walkways, greenways, working with the city on greenway connections through here. We're looking at workout facilities throughout. We're looking at bike facilities throughout, make sure that people can jump on their bike, come down, have a meal at Standard Food, come shop the makers that are along Baker's Alley. There'll be a restaurant here, a restaurant in the corner of this building, a restaurant in the corner of this building. And this whole area will have a whole different vibe than what you see right now. It's got 4 acres of outdoor space, greenway connections, total of 1,500 units, 700,000 square feet of office, 60,000 square feet of retail, including the 2 freestanding food and beverage building. The 2 being the standard food and beer, and the pump house, think coffee, right here. And then the makers, who hopefully you will have all gone and visited. They're an incredible group. All female-owned entrepreneurs who we provided space at a significant discount in order to allow them to get momentum and build their business, and hopefully get to a place where they could have a retail store that's a standard lease. These are short-term agreements that we're very flexible on terms and so forth with the tenants, to be able to get them in front of the North Hills customer at a deeply discounted price as compared to the standard retail tenants like Madewell, J. Crew, True Food Kitchen that you just heard. Next slide. Vine was the first part of the North Hills Innovation District. It's 326 bedrooms, opened back in 2020. There's some renderings of the interior of that. Next slide. The Channel House was 200 apartments that opened last year. Dose Yoga opened here in the corner in February of 2024. And hopefully y'all have gotten a chance to go there. Emily does an incredible job with her store there, and it's really beautiful. Next slide. Here's the lobby of Channel House. You see all these instruments on the wall. Right behind this wall, it's a recording studio. So it's a recording studio, podcast studio. It's really a cool place for residents of the building to go and podcast if they want to, or have a jam session with friends. And it would encourage you all to tour this as well. Yeah. Next slide. This is the podcast recording studio. In here is the closed off area with the podcast and equipment, and it's sort of set up to be like a green room for band, whoever might come in and use the facility. Next slide. Here's the club room at Channel House. Next slide. One of the apartments. Next slide. So this is Maker's Out, and Dose Yoga is over here just to orient you. And if you walk down this alley, there's a number of micro retail spaces, anywhere from 350 square feet to 900 square feet. They're for the local purveyors, makers, and artisans who are now doing business. That opened in April. Next slide. Here's an aerial view of Maker's Alley with some of the infrastructure that's coming. The bridges aren't there yet, but we're working on that. This area will be incredibly walkable, and also the type of place that you'd want to take your dog and just hang out. Next slide. When there's a dog parking there. This is Tower 5. It's a 17-story building, 55,000 square feet of office space and 8,300 square feet of retail that's going to be delivering here imminently. And these are some lobby picks and some co-working spaces within that building. Next slide. This is a rendering if Maker's Alley was to your right, looking at Tower 5. We are working on Home Turf, is a fitness concept that's going to be going in right here. And then we're working on a restaurant here on the end. And most of this space hopefully should be occupied within 6 months. All right, next slide. Here's some of the amenities in Tower 5. Next slide. We've got a sky terrace as well for the office tenants within the building. They can act out area. We found through COVID that in outdoor areas for office tenants was greater priority than ever before. People wanted to be able to get outside, fresh air. And so we programmed that into all of our office buildings. Like, next slide. So Pump House is going to be a 1,500 square foot single tenant in this building right here, at the base of Tower 5. And again, don't have a tenant announced yet, but think coffee, quick bites. And then the food and beverage building has been announced. It's 6,000 square feet leased by Standard Food and Beer. And the outdoor areas on that space are just wonderful. St. Albans Lofts, that's going to be on the corner of St. Albans and Parliament, and that will have a restaurant here on the first level. It's 7 stories, 396 units, 6,000 square feet of retail right here, and construction is ongoing.
So which one of those streets is Saint Albans and which is Artavon?
Right here is St. Albans.
And currently, that's not the footprint of Saint Albans, is it, Larry?
It's too late,
It's too late.
too late.
It's 2 lanes. So how are they gonna make that out of what's there?
The rendering, this is a rendering.
Let's hope. If you're fixed,
But it will be or will not be?
intended to be just like.
But there's no room,
Right.
there's no room for 3 lanes.
Well, that's the plan is to have an open display.
But there's homes. Homes on.
It's
The
the
left.
the original
creek.
agreement was that the property we found from the inside of the property.
Yeah, I mean, as to how this rendering fits the exact final design, I know we're accommodating all requests of the city and everything that we had obligated ourselves to with the rezoning, through the being consistent with the city code. So this looks right to me. But there's no way that there's any additional land being taken from the other side of the street. That I think is a placeholder for, that's not real. That's just a rendering something that we're dropped in.
The building currently under construction at home. That's the thing all this law
That's this right here, yes.
with the crane.
Yes, that's right.
Is there a traffic light there or
That's
it's all
the
just
question.
stop signs?
Yeah.
You know, the traffic light. is-
Yeah, it's, there is a traffic light that is being installed right here. I'm not sure of the time. But I think it's coming pretty soon. There it is. Yes.
Instead of the dead end, St. Albans.
Correct.
What are we looking at? Are we looking going across the belt line right there, or are we looking?
No, this goes up into the development and dead ends at the development.
Yeah, but on the other side of the development.
Yes.
That's right.
So the belt line would be back.
That
back up
road
there.
is not there.
This road is not open.
Yeah.
You can see it.
Right.
But it's not open yet. They're working on the culvert and building that up.
Yeah, but right now it's basically St. Albans.
Right.
And there's a little turnaround, they're gonna be expanded.
Yes, that's correct. That's right.
Are you ready for a question?
Sure.
Presentation.
Sure. Well, let's go through it. Maybe if you know it's after, yeah, other comments or questions. Here's another rendering of St. Albans Lofts with the restaurant. It's TBD. Corner. There's some of the co-working space inside. Or the apartments. So here's the pool and outdoor common area. Some additional outdoor amenity space for the residents. And then this is still in design, but this is tributary, which will be up adjacent to the belt line. If you were to keep going past the Saint Albans Lofts, it's up adjacent to the belt line.
Close to the hill.
It's really sort of, if you were to go up Hardymont more, it's on the corner of Hardymont and like Church Street up there. The one that is like a frontage road development. Yes, yes. Right, next slide. So new retailers at Northwest Innovation District are both found. Designed for Joy, Dose Yoga, Good Graces, Green Rabbit, does incredible plants. It's a gorgeous store. Hellbent, clothing store, Home Turf, which I mentioned previously, which is a cycle and exercise studio. Kai's Candles makes candles, no surprise. Standard Food and Beer. Trendland, which is a clothing lending company, so that you can get a subscription as opposed to having to buy stuff and cycle through it. And then Balloon Z, Summer Scott. And so all of these female-owned restaurants, except for Standard, female-owned businesses have opened along Maker's Alley. Some are Trendland is it's not open yet, and Home Turf is not open. But all the rest of them, and Standard, all the rest of them are open, doing a great job. Next slide. So this is NHID at full build out, and this is the belt line over here, downtown up there. So this is Hardymont, this is Saint Albans, Hardymont. So this is what we've just been talking about, where it punches through right there and goes up to the far side of these buildings, and there's a frontage road on the other side of all of these buildings that go down behind here. This is this is Tributary, the one that I mentioned that is in design right now, that's right behind Saint Albans Lofts. And then we're hoping for an office building back here. Office market's a little bit challenging these days, if you all have heard that. So it may end up being a residential building. We don't yet have plans for either of these two. And here's Standard. Next slide. Here's another angle. This is the Saint Albans right here. The belt line comes down over here. And we've got, this is Maker's Alley along there, Channel House, Tower 5, Tributary, and St. Albans Lofts.
Where's the parking for Standard?
It'll be, we've overbuilt the parking in Tower 5 and along between Vine and Channel House. And so you can get in there now and walk down to the Maker's out here. We've got a little bit of extra parking within the St. Albans Lofts. So we'll have some parking in there, but predominantly it's going to be over here. I don't know the exact, it's very, it's not far. I mean,
It's a hike if you got a grocery, you've got 2 6-packs of beer.
Yeah. I mean, it's from here to the tennis court, it's not.
Slider, while you're on this view, at one time, I thought where the existing open parking lot.
Across from Happy and Hill.
Yeah, right across from that one.
That sounds like it's gonna be a new build.
Well, that was the question, whether you can put a tower and right parking.
Yes.
Right.
That's the strength. That's correct.
That's the street.
That's right.
There's so many, you got a lot of buildings, but no parking.
Yeah.
And I mean, we got. Everybody.
Well, there's
rolling in.
there's lots of parking. It's just you have to go find it in the parking decks. We do audits regularly to check our parking levels, and they're never full.
We need an app to find your parking, because it's not visible.
Yeah.
I mean, I need a guide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we try and add signage as much as possible. We've talked about additional parking resources. We know that's a challenge. It's definitely, if anyone isn't accustomed to exactly the parking decks that they need to use, it takes a little bit of exploration to find it. We are working on some solutions. We've got a partnership that with the company Premier Parking that we're trying to solve some of those issues. It's never perfect. It's never going to be like a Walmart parking lot where you can immediately see the entire parking lot, but that's part of the trade-off. Having walkable areas require parking decks. Parking decks are inherently part of it to see the parking until you get there. But I can guarantee you there's parking. It is just takes a going into the big blue P, the parking decks and driving up. I know that.
What large cities do, open, close, lights, something like that, so people know they don't have to go up 5 stories and come down.
Yeah, we've looked at that. That's part of the solution that we're looking at is how to, the challenge is there's a lot of infrastructure that goes into it of counting the cars. And then if you get it wrong, it's worse than if you didn't do anything at all. But we had a whole deployment that was ready pre-COVID, and then COVID hit and turned everything upside down. And but here recently, we've and also like because the office tenants were coming into work, and for a while there it was parking everywhere. Now with a lot of folks returning to work, we're seeing parking utilization go up and up, and so we're moving to the solution to hopefully help.
I visited the hearing bar, new them.
It's amazing.
It's lovely, and they, want to ask about play areas, is other than just green. That's being designed as 4 acres of space.
Yeah, we've got, there's a lot of natural play areas within the space. I've got 3 kids myself, and they will have a great time, I'm sure. We want to make sure it's safe. We want to make sure that natural play areas that will have rocks and plenty of woods, and we're trying to get that dialed. But yes, we're addressing.
Part of big range.
Yes.
Long term, where's the tie-in to the bridge going across the?
Yeah, so it's it's on the city's website, but it's since there have been 3 options that have been explored. Have y'all chosen the one? There was, and so it's
landed on out of the other development.
so it's gonna be over here, the future city.
So it's the other side of the mall, Saint Albans Mall. It's gonna be closer to the Hilton, or where is it gonna go across? Because I went over to Navajo, looked across, and all that there are buildings. I don't know where it goes.
Yeah, so this frontage road will come down along the Belt Line and cross over Big Branch Creek, and then the city road will intersect there on the far side.
So you're divided partly. First hotel on the left one. Anyhow, all that's supposed to be redeveloped. And check with them, not open. Yeah, that's pretty brief. Which raises a big question for you, that every time we talk about rainways and how they're going to come, assuming the bridge is there eventually, how the rainway is going to go from that point up to St. Albans and across St. Albans. And the assumption is it's going to go up the exchange property and then through where there's wetlands and then connect up to the drive. But you were mentioning greenways coming through your compound basically. Because I thought one time it'd go around the back, now the part. Didn't see that in the city plan. Can you update it?
Yeah, this, if I'm correct, me if I'm wrong, Christina, but the bridge is intended to accommodate runway as well. There's some giant box culverts that carry the stream underneath right here, and actually walk through it. It's pretty cool, but it'd be very expensive to try and put a tunnel underneath there and connect along the creekway. So the city has designed the greenway component into the bridge that crosses over the belt line. And so these greenways would connect to that bridge, go over and connect.
And there's a plug for a survey by. I sent it out. I encourage you all to take the survey, to into the route. Crabtree Greenway, up through and up St. Albans. There are multiple routes. It's actually a good survey that gives you a lot of detail. I encourage you all to take the survey.
And the new Crabtree Greenway, I was there last week. It's special. It was not when I was there. And the bridges are incredible. Traverse to get up. So if y'all have a chance to go out, check it out. It'd be interesting. Yeah. All right, next slide. So Midtown events, quick plug. We've got Wellness Wednesdays with those kids events, Midtown Music Fest, Beach Music Series, pop-up music series, Midtown Farmers Market, holiday shop and stroll, and tree lighting. Those are our kind of signature events. We do a lot of other events, third parties come in. They can do things, National Night Out, there obviously. There's a whole lot of events that we host using the facilities that are in addition to these signature events. Next slide. There's some pictures. Sure, y'all have, you probably find some of y'all in. Next slide. We do fitness and wellness programs that are very popular. Next slide. Farmers market, kids events. So that's it.
I got a couple of questions.
More about the bridge that's gonna go across the Belmont. At Navajo Drive, we're reminding Indians and with the other connection with Oklahoma Drive. Is it along
The
that
old,
road?
the
The old Oklahoma Drive that's near those apartments behind Bahama Breeze.
it's gonna be inward,
Navajo down that way, right?
yeah, and the exchange has, what they call it, social street. You come up along the far side, right between the innovation district. and Main Street.
It's actually a well hollow sign there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
They're supposed to change the
right
name.
on Saint Albans, there is a sign that says well hollow.
Last I got back was, because we've been asking them, that they clear up the two Grand Islands, that they're supposed to change the name of it. So we want to.
But that's where it's going to cost.
Yeah.
Designed to get those apartments going down.
Correct.
The ones that are still old that are down. That's the-
That's where there'll be more one story, well, depending on today's economics, but they can build up one story. You could move all the affordable housing, but put back. I got a question for you. One of the things the community asked for a long time ago was to finish that back road before all the development started with the innovation district. And with the people that kind of partially has happened. But at the, right now, there's a straight big dirt pile that sits at the end of, I think on your property, which is going to prevent opening that road up to that pile. Game plan pile. Hold up the exchange too.
Do you want some? You can have all you want.
I can think of a lot of cluttered areas to try to.
Yeah, we're open call for anybody who wants to. That answers your question.
I get you that. It's gotta go somewhere or something.
It will. And, if anybody wants it, they're welcome.
I haven't seen it. Impressive.
Well, it's hard to miss. Going down 440, dirt. Grass.
Has there been any, traffic impact studies in the area to determine? I mean, everything sounds awesome, but it's also what are the potential problems and we in our neighborhood are very concerned about it. So have there been any traffic impact studies? Accident, I know you mentioned some accident reports, but, that's something that we're very concerned about. I mean, I love everything you presented, it's great, but it's a lot more people living in the area and it's a bridge coming over. Flow coming, right off Computer Drive on the Six Forks Road, which cannot be expanded in my opinion. I don't know how much.
Can I address that after? Traffic has always been a concern for all areas. I'd rather get into it now, because one of the problems we had with the expansion of North Hills, the biggest concern was traffic and also affordable housing. There was supposed to be a Six Forks Road remedies, eventually by the city. There's a phase 2 of the Six Forks Road. Never got any attention. Some of that would have been addressed if we applied that. But the city, by the time the city comes up with money to improve Six Forks, all the development that's planned will be all finished. You saw the mention about St. Albans itself. There is a plan to expand part of St. Albans to handle some of the traffic. Never happened. And soon it'll happen once they're finished their build out and the exchange is finished their build out. But that stretch from, correct me if I'm wrong, from Church Street all the way down to Wake Forest Road will get expanded out of the center turn lane. I think it's a 3-lane center median. That's the way it works. But that hasn't, that's on the city plan. But it's not. Yeah, now on your project, at one time, there was a plan to have a multi-use path surrounding the full property. Based on the drawing, I haven't seen, don't see where it's going to fit.
Yeah, there's a bunch of paths all through there. And, whatever obligations we have to rezoning, absolutely. Under CO. So, the city's got a great team that makes sure that we meet all our obligations. And the multi-use path, there's a wire sidewalk, which was taken along with the plantings and things like that. So it's the combined web and the trails throughout the project. I don't think those were in the zoning, but they're key to activating and making one place for kids to be able to run around. Rocks and bikes and pedestrians and dogs. And I think we got 2. It's going to be 3 dog parks, and then it'll go to 2 larger dog parks throughout the innovation district. So we really envision all of our neighbors walking down, enjoying the new establishments, and certainly traffic is always a concern. And sure, Christina can echo across the city. It's a concern, and it's like an issue for the hospitals as well. So it's a challenge within the city. And, the great news is we live in an incredible place. Bad news is people have figured that out, and so they're moving here. And obviously, there's nothing we can do to stop them. What we can do is try and accommodate them with the best possible, most sustainable development possible. And vertically integrated, walkable, mixed-use development with parking decks is really sort of the state of the art for developing habitat for people. And they'll either be moving into our exurbs and eating up our rural land and creating more suburban sprawl, which creates a ton worse traffic because those people then have to drive much further to get from their home to the place of work. Or we can build up and accommodate apartments next to office buildings so that someone can live right here or walk to where they work right here. Or live right here and work out of the co-working space within the building so they don't have to drive. So we're very sensitive to that. And the study was done a number of years ago and showed that North Hills has half the traffic of a comparable suburban development. So we are focused on the traffic. But that doesn't mean anything to somebody who's sitting on a car and on Six Forks. So
And then, piggyback on you, so great stuff. So I think probably your question is more directed to the city as to why, nothing has been done. It's not directed at you, but or what will be done.
There is a piece that Bob asked. I'd like to know the, first of all, the timeline for what the city build out, how long the thing, the building out. But the second part of that is that the idea of that back road from Beltline was to alleviate some of the expected traffic off this tunnel. And I'm just curious what the timeline is. I see now you're starting to work on the cut through on Parnamon. And what would be the timeline for that back road to finally open up?
it's my understanding it's when everything else is
People first and better way to figure it out. Oh, well done. Any more questions?
But we never got a response.
Can I answer?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, okay, cool, so there are a few things going on. That, to your point, we had from 440 and onwards, was the project, which is finally after 12 years approved. That doesn't do anything for the other side, so that's this side, but then where the new development's coming, where, Apples are building there's not a fully funded plan, not even any funded plan. So we are continuing to push that. That's not something that I can say we do that tomorrow, so we're doing multiple things at the same time, trying to make them fit. But to the question of going the multimodal bridges across, it's going to go across, and actually Atlas Stark is building another connection. So they're creating another exit. It's going to go on to the Wake Forest Road, Little, and it's going. It's
gonna be a roundabout going to
right.
Scooter Drive and also the Waketown.
Waketown, that's what I'm sorry, Waketown, correct. So there's going to be, they're adding an extra egress point so that the heaviness isn't all put on the Six Forks. There are solutions that are coming up, but that side of the belt line, North Hills, it's still in the process of being developed. So as we're going through these projects, we're trying to match the Midtown area plan, which was approved in 2020. So we are trying to address those concerns. It doesn't even help. It does, that bridge is not even funded.
I was gonna say,
It's not
there's
funded.
no,
No, it's the plan. We have to have the idea, the plan before we get funding.
So-
That's
with that, why are we,
Oh, yeah.
what's your,
why are we, so, the bring members and probably through about a 20-story building for the SDC.
So,
yeah, that's.
We can't even accommodate the fact, we can't get out of our neighborhood.
what is your name?
Drewry Hills, we cannot get out. So, and how is this traffic?
Right, and a lot of those questions are things that as we grow, we need to put into committee. A lot of what did we just mention, that 20-story is going to come up again for sure.
And where is it going to be exactly located?
So there's going to be a buffer right between
What
Six Forks. Buffer means
buffer, buffer.
So you're familiar with the interchange of 440
Yeah.
and 6 Forks. Okay, right below that interchange, right to the south of that interchange. If you turn on the drive, where the outline is.
Yep.
That's where the 23rd.
That's correct.
Okay.
What's the buffer?
There's a wooded buffer between the building and Beltline, if you do that part.
Is that
Yes, it has to be.
Yeah, it's part of it.
Part of their shot and farm.
has it been approved?
Not yet, so that's coming on September 3rd.
We be making plans about trouble.
Well, before you,
All of that.
Christina, you probably.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. So, yeah, we are talking about all of this at the same time. And there is not a plan, we don't have that all fully in the works to say, yes, this is a solution. And we're trying to do, like we said, different things at one time, which the committee I serve on the transit committee, which so far have not talked about this, and that's gonna be a big push as we go through the process, to say, how are we solving this? When we were doing the other side of Six Forks Road, this is something that brought up this area, the other side of Six Forks, so how do we grow? Because I can't stop growth. We need to
But there is a partial. There is, you asked about a traffic study, there is a traffic study for that concept. You were welcome to see it if you'd like, I can send it to you.
Don't they have proposed traffic signal for the section?
Yes, that's what I've been telling them, that they are going to improve.
That'll help me.
Well, they are going to, yeah, they are going to improve the traffic at that area. They're gonna move the traffic. And it takes the state DOT to actually move the traffic. I don't know how long it'll take them. And then improve the turn that goes into Gravelwood from the other side. Because that's also another neighborhood that can't get out of the crossover. But I don't think there's anything, that's gonna help you through the hill. Just dangerous. I'm gonna ask him to help you improve Six Forks.
But I think what we're trying to say as we grow, I have all of these,
I'm sorry.
all of these concerns are valid, are completely valid, and as we are talking, we're trying to do them. Just if that approval happens, that doesn't mean that in years, you know, we have this time that we're trying to utilize and make sure that we have those conversations and put them. So I'm really glad, I'm not sure if we do this from two. Right, so that's.
One of you.
I'll email you and Christina on behalf of our committee.
I sent you an email back,
That would be great.
so this is a meeting that you want. Or
Yeah,
you
I'll
still
work
want
the
to
meeting.
call?
Yeah, I told, this is what something that I spoke about tonight. So this is something that I've loved, still talking, because there's still time. So make plans and make sure these are updated, but as growth comes and development comes, and there are opportunities that we don't. And on that side, you know, on this side is a lot of fun, we have a lot of the exciting things we saw here, and on the other side of the is going to be a lot of office space, a lot of medical office, your Jewish is what it is right now. Right, they're gonna continue, they're gonna use school.
The only thing is, Stone owns them. Every.
Not
They're
yet.
not even buying it up.
Not yet, but it-
Hoping you guys are gonna get them up and running.
But it's following the Midtown area plan, which is what the community.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think we've all realized it's gotten a little bit much. Thank you. Katie's done a lovely job at North Hills.
We
Really
had,
has.
we had this,
But we can't get out because of what's happening up there. That section.
just tell you that we had the same discussion in 2016. Before Kane Realty started to develop, all the properties you see them developing now, same discussion. Traffic in 2016 was the biggest issue at that time. And we tried to get a bunch of things, try to get the city to do a bunch of things to think long range, knowing that traffic is going to get worse. And every time we do a traffic study, it tells us the same thing. Traffic is pretty bad. The interchanges are either F or E. And we can keep doing traffic studies, but it's not going to move until the roadways themselves are developed.
And that's the problem. Because you guys are putting cart before the horse.
The city,
The city's doing that. And why should we approve rezoning until the city that they're out together?
No, that's 100%.
absolutely correct.
There's infrastructure needs that have not been met, and that's.
And are y'all aware, in order to enlarge 6 foot south of Bullseye, y'all are gonna have to do something similar to what happened.
Remember, by that, it's a state road, so that's
Yeah.
where this partnership comes in, there's nothing the city is built.
Right.
When 6 Forks enlarged, that's a state road, and so there's this. Well, push and pull this, okay, we're not gonna do anything because you don't have the density to support from the street. And so that's what I was emailing you earlier and say, there's this chicken or the egg, like, are we need the density before stapled on